Hello guys, this is Bird Brain. We're here, we are nerdy for the birdies. So today we are reacting and doing a post-game ponder on the Eagles versus Ravens preseason game. I hope to do these after every preseason game, after regular season games and stuff like that. So it'll be fun to kind of talk about games and, have a conversation with people. So I have some post-game reactions. Obviously, if you didn't know, the Eagles won 16-13 on a walk-off field goal by Jake Elliott, and my first observation very simply is, what an ending to that game. And that might be one of the craziest endings I've ever seen to a preseason game. Look, preseason's not everyone's cup of tea. The football is often sloppy and low-scoring. It's not very entertaining. You probably don't even know who half the people on the field are. But if you're not really looking at it on a win and loss kind of thing, and I don't really like to look at games as, if a game is good because they won, or it's bad, but I like to look at the things in between. And look, this was not the brightest performance for the Eagles, but there's a lot of good in it. And obviously the ending, look, Jake Elliott struggled today, and there's probably a few reasons for that. I'm not worried about him at all in any particular way, but number one, obviously, if you don't know, if you're not from the Northeast right now, we're kind of getting the outer bands of a hurricane. There's a lot of wind today. There's rain. It wasn't really raining in the game, but there was rain earlier. And the other thing that people may not know is in Baltimore, I think their Jumbotron has this weird thing where it creates kind of a jet stream just because of the way it's set up, where it can cause, field goal kicks to be pushed, away from their targets. This is something that's happened in other Ravens games with teams. Even the Ravens themselves have lost games because of that. I'm not concerned about Elliott. He's a pretty consistent kicker, and I think him having the chance to make the game-winning kick, still after missing it the first time, I think that's good for his confidence. You want that. Obviously, Patrick Johnson, man, just comes out and just strip sacks the man and recovers it. I believe he was the one who recovered it. Crazy play to end it. But yeah, so far that was obviously the biggest observation. Just a crazy ending there. Number two, I thought the rookies had a nice night overall. I thought most of the rookies played really well. They all had splash plays. Quinion Mitchell, didn't have a great first play. There was a mistake there. I'm not sure who it was on, but it kind of made him look like he had a bust in coverage. He comes back later on the drive. He nearly gets a pick. Will Shipley probably was the offensive player of the night. He had a really good performance. He was kind of doing a little bit of everything. He was running the ball. He was catching it. He caught a touchdown pass. He had a really nice blitz pickup on a play. He was playing special teams. He was returning kicks. He had a good tackle, I believe, on a kick. Maybe another one. Trotter was another one who stood out to me. I thought he had a really good preseason game, made some splash plays. I thought the linemen played pretty well. Johnny Wilson had a nice catch. Anais Smith, people have said, he did not have the best outing. I did not like the way he looked on special teams. But hey, he had a clutch third down catch in the fourth quarter that helps sustain a drive. And you need that kind of stuff. So, all in all, good performance by the rookies. So, glad to have them here. And the next one is, I thought overall tonight we had a really good run game, and it's nice to see the run game, especially in the preseason. Like, look, the yards per carry is not going to be super high in a preseason game. That's just what it is. You've got backup offensive linemen blocking guys that are not the best. They probably don't have as much cohesion as a normal starting offensive line would. But the run game was pretty powerful, and the Eagles could lean on it when it needed. And I thought all of the running backs looked pretty solid. Will Shipley, Kenny Gainwell to start the game looked pretty good. Lou Nichols, Kendall Milton, even Davis Price. A lot of those guys got plays, and it's nice to see the run game continue to be a strength in the Eagles offense. So that was my third observation. Fourth observation is I saw two big problems that the Eagles had last year kind of get solved a little bit in this game. Now, the starters were not in, but it was nice to see the Eagles do two things. On offense, it was nice to see them grind drives out. And look, we love the big passes to A.J. Brown, the big plays to Smitty, the big plays to Goddard. All that's great. But in the NFL, there are times where you need to buckle down and run 10-plus play drives. And the Eagles did that multiple times for scores in this game. And they did a really good job at executing them. There is one point that I will get to as my final observation that's kind of like a hindrance and a negative, but for the most part, though, the offense, when they needed to grind a drive out, they could, and, through running the ball or completions. I mean, I have seen some kind of back and forth talk about how people feel about the quarterback play. Obviously, you're not going to get top-notch play in the preseason, but I thought both quarterbacks were okay tonight. Nothing too special. They didn't put the ball in harm's way. That's something you want to see. And to be honest, I feel a lot more secure if Pickett is the backup quarterback than if Mariota was the backup quarterback last year. I just think he's a little bit more careful with the football. He's a bit more accurate. I just think he looked overall pretty solid. It's nice to see offense, they ground out. They had I believe, a 15-play drive that ran for almost 9 minutes for the Shipley touchdown. They had another drive for 7 minutes that led to the Lou Nichols touchdown. The final drive, ground out the final few minutes of the quarter. Those are the things you want to see. And look, that was something that lost them games last year, was their inability to grind out their drives late. Games like the Seahawks game, the Cardinals game. So seeing them being able to, say, hey, we're going to just run clock and we're just going to kill 6, 7, 8 minutes of clock while you guys, and wear down a defense, because they dominated time of possession tonight. They dominated in yards. And speaking of the defense, this also correlates to this point. This was the second problem. Last year, it felt like the defense couldn't get off the field on third down. Tonight, they only gave up 2. They did a pretty good job. They did give up a 4th down as well, but for the most part, the defense played pretty well until late. And even then, I still thought they played fine. I thought, a lot of splash plays made on defense, some by the rookies. N'Kobe Dean had a nice night, I thought. Obviously, Patrick Johnson having that strip sack was a good moment. That kind of stuff. Again, a big reason why you lost some games is you couldn't get off the field on third down. And you would just let offenses grind out these long drives against you instead of the other way around. In 2021 and 2022, the big thing the Eagles could do to lead on winning games, hey, if the offense isn't having the best day and finding explosives, guess what? We're going to get down and we're going to get dirty and we're just going to grind out clock and we're going to wear you down at the same time. Last year, it felt like they were big play hunting. On defense, it felt like they could get off the field a little bit more often than they did last year. And now this year, it looks a lot cleaner. It looks better. So there's that point. And my final point, which is the negative, and I think the thing that really was the difference in this game, because let's be honest, the Eagles dominated in time of possession. They dominated in yards. They didn't really dominate in scoring. And the reason is that simply too many penalties. Way too many penalties. And look, it's the first game. Players are nervous. They make mistakes. The penalties have to come down. You can't expect to have as many penalties as you did. I think they had 8 or 9. And expect to win football games. You can't do that. And you got to take these lessons, even if you didn't play in this game, and understand, look, there are drives where, there's a holding penalty, and then the holding penalty, backs you up, and now you got 2nd down and 20, or 1st and 20. Then you have drops on 1st and 2nd down, and 3rd down, it's a check down, and then you're punting. You just wasted a drive because you had a penalty. You kill drives that way, or you help an offense stay on the field on the other side if you have defensive penalties. So you've got to be careful of that. But I think this was a solid showing. Look, I don't think we're going to see the explosive offense that we were looking to see. Really not until the regular season. So we just have to be patient. This is preseason football. It's nice to see Nick Sirianni win his 2nd preseason game. He's won 2. He's lost a few, and then he's tied 2. So it's nice to see him get a true win here. It's nice to see them kind of dominate in a preseason game. It kind of feels like at times they used to, but then they kind of would lose it late. But yeah, so I recommend that you guys like, share, and subscribe. Really trying to grow this channel. Hopefully we can start reaching more people. But yeah, this is Bird Brain flying off. Fly, Eagles, fly. I will see you guys next week for the Patriots.